a new front has opened in this ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. Yemen's Iranian-backed Houthi rebels say they have seized an Israeli cargo ship in the Red Sea. They said the vessel was then taken to a port in Yemen. Israel said the ship was not Israeli and no Israelis were there among the crew. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that this was another act of Iranian terrorism. Iran has not commented so far, but certainly this has led to a new flashpoint. Let me bring in my guests and go straight to Eylon Levy. He is the spokesperson for the Office of the Prime Minister of Israel. Mr. Levy, how are these developments being viewed? Because there's a lot of back and forth that is happening from both the sides.
As you correctly mentioned, this isn't an Israeli ship. There were no Israeli crew members on board, but it does serve as a dramatic wake-up call about the threat that the Iranian access poses to security and peace in the Middle East. Let's remember that the Iranian regime in Tehran supports terror groups around the Middle East, including Hamas in the Gaza Strip, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and the Houthis in Yemen as well. And in recent years, we've seen the Middle East breaking up along the lines of Iran and its radical terrorist proxies, and Israel and the moderate Arab states that are trying to develop a future of peace and normalization in the region. So this dramatic incident of piracy on the high seas really reminds us of the danger that Iran poses not only to Israel, but to global security and the security of global shipping lanes.
So how is Israel planning to tackle this or handle this situation now?
Well, as we said, this is not an Israeli ship and no Israeli crew members were on board.
Yes, but because it has led to some kind of a larger, tension, what is being said from the Houthi forces is that Israeli vessels are being called legitimate targets.
And of course, we completely deplore any terrorist trying to disrupt international peace and security and attack civilian targets. As I said, this was not an Israeli ship. There were no Israeli crew members on board. But this is a reminder that Iran's terrorist forces see civilian infrastructure, see ships, see people's homes, see schools as legitimate targets. That is terrorism. And the whole world must speak up loud and clear about Iran's attempts to sow mass murder and destruction in the Middle East before the situation gets any worse.
We have a comment that has come in from Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson Nasser Kanani, and he is saying that these are accusations which are completely invalid and a projection meant to escape from the situation they are facing.
The Iranian regime is very open that its goal is the destruction of the state of Israel and the murder of all the Jewish people. That is the evil regime that we are dealing with. And its allies around the region, its proxy forces, regularly lie about everything. Like Hamas, which on October 7th perpetrated a brutal massacre of 1,200 Israelis. They butchered, beheaded, burned, tortured, mutilated, raped countless Israelis, and they denied that they did it. They took 240 people hostage into the Gaza Strip, and they denied that we did it. So we don't take very seriously Iran's denials of its own war crimes or the denials of any of its terrorist proxy forces.
So the question is, who does this ship really belong to? If it is not an Israeli vessel, then shouldn't that be a matter of concern? Which country does it belong to?
I'm afraid I don't have immediate information. I believe the ship was registered as belonging to a British company.
Okay, so it belongs to a British company. Mr. Levy, before I let you go, I want to understand from you also, because there are these concerns of the Red Sea becoming the new place of war now, perhaps between Israel and Hamas. What are the measures that are being taken by you all?
Well, the Iranian axis is clearly trying to escalate this conflict in the Middle East after Hamas declared war on Israel with the October 7th massacre. We've seen Hezbollah in Lebanon stepping up its attacks on Israel. We've had over 1,000 rockets fired by Hezbollah from Lebanon at Israel. And at the moment, we're trying to contain that situation and focus on destroying Hamas, focus on destroying the terror organization that perpetrated the October 7th massacre. And that's why it's so important that the United States has sent 2 battle carrier groups into the Middle East to send a very clear message, a message of deterrence, a message to Iran and its proxy forces that if anyone is thinking of getting into this war, if anyone is thinking of escalating this conflict, the United States message is very clear. Don't do it.
So will Israel be seeking help from other countries to really, should there be an investigation about this ship now?
Of course, we think that the whole world should shine a spotlight on Iran's war crimes, on Iranian aggression, on the terrorist activities of Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis. These are all partners in crime with each other. And we think it's very important to shine a spotlight on that terrorist activity, which is trying to destabilize peace and security in the Middle East, which I'll remind you, for your viewers, it's not long since the G20 summit. World leaders announced a very ambitious plan to connect India through Saudi Arabia, through Israel to Europe with that ambitious trade route. That is a trade route that is supposed to bring prosperity to the people of India, that the Iranian regime and its proxies are now trying to sabotage. These attacks on global shipping lanes are a direct attack on our attempts to work together to bring prosperity and security to the region. So those attacks must be clearly investigated and they must be clearly condemned.
All right, Eylon Levy, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us and speaking to NDTV. We also have Dr. Fouad Azadi. He's Associate Professor, Faculty of World Studies, University of Tehran. Before I bring in Dr. Fouad, let's try and put the story in context for our viewers. Houthis have been openly supporting the Hamas and have fired missiles towards Israel, which have been intercepted by Israeli defense and the US. Will this latest Houthi provocation impact the Israel-Hamas war and lead to some kind of a flare-up, which is already there in this region? Kadambini Sharma with this report.
Well, a cargo ship from Turkey bound for India has been hijacked by Yemen's Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. The ship was carrying around 25 crew members belonging to various nations. Houthis had claimed they seized an Israeli ship which was denied by Israel. Information from the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also indicated that no Indians were on board the Galaxy Leader, the name of the ship. The Houthis, backed by Iran, have vowed to target Israeli-linked vessels in the Red Sea. And IDF had tweeted that the hijacking of a cargo ship has taken place by Houthis near Yemen in the southern Red Sea, and it's a very grave incident of global consequence. Now, there are the reports there are no reports of any Indians in these. There are no Indians and also there are no Israelis on this ship. So this is one thing which has been kind of relief for India. But the nationalities are as diverse as Ukrainian, Bulgarian, Filipinos, and Israel has said it is not an Israeli ship. It has accused Iran and Iran has denied. Houthis have warned no Israeli ships will be allowed to pass this area. Now, they have demanded that Israeli attacks on Gaza should stop, and till this happens, they will keep attacking the ships. But this is the major shipping route, which is around 1,300 kilometers from Suez Canal, where this incident has happened. Houthis have already joined forces with the Hamas against Israel, and we have seen the attacks taking place. But the fact is, the question being asked is, who does this ship actually belong to? Israeli officials insist it's a British ship being operated by Japan, but some reports based on public shipping database say it's associated with Ray Car Carriers. Now, Ray Car Carriers was founded by Israeli billionaire Abraham Rami Unger. Israelis have called this a hijack and an act of terror, and this incident has suddenly raised the stakes even more and may fan the conflict even further, with Saudi and US getting more involved in the situation.
Dr. Fouad, you heard from the spokesperson of the Prime Minister's Office of Israel. He says that this is an Iranian act of terrorism.
Well, he is representing a government that's killing 200 children on a daily basis. So what he says about terrorism should not be taken seriously. Israel is a terrorist state. 70% of Israeli terror victims are women and children. We have over 12,000 victims so far. We had a UN resolution a few days ago calling on the Zionist government to stop this type of massacre. They ask for a pause, a humanitarian pause. And the things that Israelis are doing is, this is pure terrorism. So don't take him seriously. He had a lot of misinformation in his rhetoric. The Iranians have never asked for Jews to be killed. Jews, Muslims, Christians, Hindus other religions are welcome to live peacefully together.
But
It's
Dr.
the
Fahd,
Israelis.
the larger question of opening a new front in this war. Now, the war is also in the Red Sea. If you look at hijacking of this cargo ship, it has only escalated the situation further and made it worse.
You know, when you have the government committing genocide, other governments and other organizations and other people and human beings in general have a responsibility to stop the genocide. And organizations, governments, individuals do whatever they can. You may go to an anti-genocide demonstration in India tomorrow. In Iran, the government is trying to help financially the victims of the massacre. The Houthis are doing what they can. They are located at the Red Sea, and they're trying to make sure that the supplies that Israelis receive in order to continue the genocide is not going to go through the Red Sea without any problem. So this is what they can do, and this is what they are engaged in.
But Dr. Fahd, one question that remains unanswered even till now is, who does the ship actually belong to? That is the question that we have put out in the form of graphics, because the Israelis say it doesn't belong to them, and the Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson have also said that these accusations are invalid. So if indeed they are involved in this hijack, then they should be accepting it.
Based on, again, public access news reports, this ship belongs to an Israeli billionaire, and this is what you reported. So the people who confiscated, I wouldn't use the word hijack, they confiscate property that belongs to people who are helping the genocide in Palestine. And this is a responsibility that people have, whether you can go to demonstrations or engage in activities to stop the genocide. The genocide has been going on for more than 45 days now, and the world is waking up to atrocities that are taking place in Palestine. And people are engaging in activities to stop these type of atrocities. The apartheid state in Israel is a settler colonialism state. This is the last experience of colonialism that the West inflicted on indigenous people, in this case, Palestinians. So we cannot sit idly and just watch 200, 300 women and children be slaughtered on a daily basis.
But Houthis, targeting Israeli vessels in the waterway over Israel's war with Hamas in the Gaza Strip. My question then is that how will this, war, which is taken multi-dimensional, it has become multi-dimensional, become, about, newer spaces being occupied by both the sides, then where is it all heading?
The cost on engaging in genocide should be high enough for the Israeli government to stop the genocide. All governments, all people have a responsibility to make sure that the genocide stops today. In fact, as I said, this is a UN resolution that was passed a couple of days ago. So making sure that the Israelis are paying a price for engaging in this type of behavior is something that's very important. And this is what all people, all humans, you don't have to be a Muslim to be concerned about genocide. You just have to be a human being.
All right, Dr. Fahd, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, it remains a mystery as to which country, which organization does this vessel actually belong to, although Iran is clearly saying that the accusations of Israel is invalid. Israel insisting that this is an act by Houthis who are backed by Iran. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.